What's up? What's up? This is Mike Waters, and you are watching the Elite Athlete Podcast. Or maybe you're just listening to it, but you get the point. So I'm going to jump right into it. Today I want to talk first to my parents, parents of athletes, especially young athletes. You know, I'm talking 10 years old, 11, 12, 13, kind of that pre-high school age that, they're young, they're trying to figure it out. They're passionate about their sport, passionate about playing and competing and getting better and all that good stuff. And so now as a parent, you are obligated to provide them certain resources, right? You are obligated to hold them accountable. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, because I feel like a lot of parents are doing a great job of providing the resources. But I think we have to do a better job at keeping our young athletes accountable. And when I say accountable, I'm not talking about just showing up to practice, showing up to training if they train at somewhere like Phase One or something like that. I get that. That's the stuff that they enjoy doing. That's the stuff that they want to do. But what about the stuff that they don't want to do? What about the chores at home? What about giving them more responsibility at home? What about the academic side of it? What about now that it's summertime? What about providing one book a week or something like that they have to sit down and actually focus and study or read for X amount of time? These are the types of things that I think are going to make the biggest difference in any young athlete. I meet with parents all day long. I talk to parents all day long. We have, athletes in our program. So I get to have these conversations. And I think the athletes that I see that really excel, and I'm not talking just excel on the football field or the basketball court, but that excel overall. I think they're the ones that typically have the most structure, the most discipline, the most focus, the most attention to detail. They're the ones that show up early. They're the ones that are willing to stay after. They're the ones that are willing to help clean up. These are the type of characteristics that I think when it really comes down to it, it's going to be the separating factor. If you fast forward to college and to recruiting, when college coaches are on the road and they're recruiting athletes, it's not always the talent, and what I mean by that is a lot of athletes have talent. There's a lot of athletes that can play at the Division I level in every single sport. But what's the deciding factor? What are they looking at? How are they going to determine if I'm a recruiting coach and I'm looking for a wide receiver and I have, 3 scholarships to offer, wide receivers only? Guess what? I get to pick from thousands of wide receivers, thousands. So you're telling me out of those thousands, there's not at least 100 of them, 150 that can really play Division I football? Probably more. But as a coach, I'm going to start to break down not just the film. I'm going to break down the character. I'm going to break down the discipline. I'm going to look at the grades. I'm going to look at the attendance. I'm going to look at if they've ever been in any type of trouble. These are the things that I'm going to look at. I'm going to look at their social media. I'm going to see, what are they posting? Are they at the party? Are they the cool kid that's willing to get in trouble just to remain the cool kid? What character? What am I getting? So as a parent, I just think that it's very, very important that we not only provide the resource, but we also provide the accountability and the structure around it. If your kids, at training, and you're paying for this training. I know a lot of the parents that we work with, they're working, double time, overtime, 2 jobs. They're doing a lot of stuff to be able to provide what their kid needs. And I respect that 100%. But here's what I want to say. If that's you, and whether you're working 2 jobs or not is irrelevant, but if you're paying for resources, paying for training, paying for their skills coach, paying for this coach, if you're doing all that, what are you expecting or what are you asking for in return? What do you want from your student athlete? Are they just going to be entitled? Do they just know that mom, dad is just going to get them what they want, get them what they need? Is it that simple? Is it that clean? Hey, mom, I need cleats. You're going to go get cleats. Hey, I want to go train at Phase One. Here's the money. Let's go train at Phase One. If you're going to provide all of these resources, which I think you should do, what's the accountability? What do I get in return as a parent? It's no way possible that I should be investing in your future. And like I said, this is 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. There's no way I should be investing in your future and also yelling at you about keeping your room clean, yelling at you about the way you treat your sisters and brothers and that kind of thing. So as a parent, I want you guys to really start to lay more groundwork, more foundation. So that way, as your athlete gets a little older and they progress to high school, you don't have to worry about it. They're not going to be the one getting in trouble. They're not going to be the one at the party, drinking and smoking and doing all the crazy stuff, because they're going to understand discipline. They're going to understand focus. They're also going to be appreciative of what you have done for them. It's hard to appreciate something where it's just handed to you over and over and there's nothing expected in return. Why would I appreciate that? I'm going to get it. It's natural. I've seen athletes for years that are just entitled 100%, whatever it is. Anything happen. Their grades could be terrible, attitude terrible, and guess what? They still walk in with the new Jordans on. They still walk in with the new cleats, and they got a pair of cleats for this game and another pair for this, and they're still getting everything. So who can we be mad at? If you're frustrated with your athlete, the first thing you should do is look in the mirror and determine how much of this is on you. How much of this did you create? That's the question that you want to ask. So this message, and let me rephrase that, this first half of this message was specific to my parents. Now it's time to transition. So parents, if you've been listening, now's the time that you switch it over and make your student athlete listen. Now let's talk about them. So this is my athletes out there, my elite athletes, my ones that have goals, that are trying to get to the next level. Once again, I don't care, 8, 10, 12, doesn't matter. You're trying to get to the next level. You're watching film. You're showing up at the game. You're competing. You got your plays on your Instagram page. You're working out in the garage. You're doing all this stuff to get to the next level. You're doing it all. You're committed. My question to you is, do you appreciate the effort and the time and the money that your parents are investing in you being able to play a sport? Have you even thought about it? A lot of young athletes never even think about it because it's just what it is. It's just normal. Do you understand that if your parent is providing resources, if your parent has you training, if your parent is paying for an extra coach to work on your shot or batting cage time, if your parent is doing this, understand that even though when you get to that batting cage, might be 40, 50 athletes in there, but you need to understand that there's thousands of athletes that can't even afford to go to that batting cage. Thousands. There's a couple hundred that are in there, but there's thousands that wish they could be there. It's thousands that would do anything in the world to have a private coach, a shooting coach, a personal trainer. Thousands. And they can't even have the conversation. Their parents cannot even fathom paying a Phase One Sports $400, $500, $600 a month for training. So if you're an athlete and your parents are providing you with this and they're working hard to make sure you have everything you need, number one, you need to be very, very, very appreciative. You need to say thank you. You need to be giving hugs. You need to be taking out the trash. You need to be washing the car. I don't know. You got to figure it out, but you have to do something that shows your parents that you appreciate it and you understand what they're doing. You understand what it's taking for you to get what you want. Especially now, you got all these travel teams and games and out of state and hotels, and all this stuff is going into your future. So if you are walking around and you are entitled, you walking around, you thinking you're God's gift to the planet, I'm gonna tell you, that's not it. You have missed the whole point. So you need to start by looking in the mirror as a young athlete and say, man, my parents, my mom, my dad, here's what they're doing, and here's how I'm gonna show them that I appreciate it. Here's how I'm going to show them that it's not going to waste, because I'm sure they can spend that money on 1,000 different things. I know parents that are literally sacrificing essentials and things that they need to make sure their kid is good. So if that's it, we need to show them that we appreciate it. We need to tell them verbally, Mom, thank you. Dad, thank you. Thank you for letting me do this. Thank you for signing me up for this camp. Thank you for driving me to California, to Arizona. Thank you. Because I'm telling you, there's thousands of athletes all around the country that wish they had what you had. They wish they will give up anything for those cleats, for those Jordans, for that iPhone, for whatever you have. So you need to be appreciative. So my young athletes, this is what I want you to do. This is the takeaway. I want you, number one, to start by communicating, reaching out tonight with your parents. Sit down and walk and tell them. Walk up, have a seat, and say thank you. Thank you for what? Thank you for everything you do so I can play football, so I can play basketball, so I can play baseball, I can play tennis, whatever the sport is. Thank you. Thank you for my coaching, my training. Thank you for, it's summer months. Thank you for the traveling we're gonna do so I can go play my sport. Thank you. And then the next thing I want you to do, young athletes, the next thing I want and need you to do is figure out where else you can help. How can you help your family? You're 12, 13, 14. Guess what? Mom needs to do something. I'll watch the little sister. I'll watch the little brother. I'll take care of it. You see your mom, your dad doing something. Hey, I got it. Let me do it. Let me take it. I'll take the trash out. I got it. Leave it alone. Because you need to start showing that you appreciate it. And it's not just, you can't show them by just scoring points, scoring goals. That's not showing them. That's just the result of what they gave you. You need to show them off the field, off the court, why you appreciate it. Show them how much you appreciate it. Show them what you're willing to do to make sure that you show them and you appreciate what they have already done, and you know they're going to continue to help you. Don't take it for granted. Don't be entitled. Don't get an attitude when they say no about the one thing that you didn't get. You got everything else you need, and then you wanted this pair of shoes, you couldn't get it, and now your whole world's over. Get over that. It's not real. That's because you're entitled and you think you should get it. You think you should get whatever you want. I'm here to tell you that's not it. So if your parents are putting in the work and doing the best they can, that's exactly it. It's the best they can. That means they're giving you everything they have. So I don't care what that is. I don't care if you feel like it's not enough. It's more than most. If you feel like it's not enough, I'm telling you, there are student athletes out there that wish they had exactly what you have. And you're taking it for granted because it's not enough. So my young athletes, this is it. I need you to change immediately. I need you to do this tonight. Figure it out. Have this conversation. Figure out how you could help. Show them you appreciate it. And I'm telling you, if you do this, it will change everything. And I promise you, your game will go to the next level. I don't care what sport you play. Once you become appreciative, you learn about work ethic, you learn about discipline, you learn about character. It's only going to make you a better athlete. Make sense? Make sense. All right, that's it. Hopefully, there's some takeaway here. Parents, make sure your athlete listens to this podcast or watches this podcast. Athletes, tap in. This is it, man. I want you guys to get better. We started Phase 1 Elite for a reason. I'm trying to bring you what it takes to be an elite level athlete, not average. We don't do average. We do elite. All right. So if you haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast on whatever channel you're watching it, whether it's Google Play or Apple iTunes or whatever the heck the podcast is, YouTube. Just make sure you subscribe. Make sure you stay tapped in. Also, if you know somebody that needs to hear this, make sure you share it. So with that said, drop a comment, drop a like, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching the Elite Athlete Podcast.